Okay, so here I'm fixing a window unit. I had two problems. It was long gas. I found the leak here. I soldered that up. I soldered that U-bend. But also the compressor relay. Oh, sorry. The compressor relay is stuck closed. So the compressor runs all the time. As soon as you plug this in, the compressor kicks on. So I'm gonna order a relay. I see on eBay they have them for like $1.25 or something like that. So I'm gonna order a new relay. I'll do a part 2 video. When it comes in, I'll unsolder from the control board, solder it back on, and then we'll plug it in and see how everything works. But in the meantime, I figured I'll put a gauge port on in this hole, and I'll leave it with nitrogen. I'll clean it up. I'll leave it with nitrogen and make sure there's no other leaks while I wait for the relay to arrive. So anyways, since I fixed that leak in the condenser, and I heated this up with the torch, since there was a little pressure inside, it blew open. So now I have this big hole to deal with. So let me see if I have a tape measure. I could tell you. Oh. So this hole, just so, and it's a pretty big hole. It's about 3/8. It's about 3/8. Let's see, 1/4 inch, between 1/4 and 3/8. Let's see. Yeah, here it's a 1/4 by 3/8. The hole. So that's a good size hole. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to braze that back closed. Alright, I'm going to put so in a field, if you run into a big hole and somebody tells you can't braze it closed, one, I'm going to put a gauge port in there. I'm going to put it on an angle like this. And this is a piece of thermostat wire. I stripped all the insulation off it, so now this is a bare copper wire. So what you do is you're gonna wrap this around it to make a bridge, and then you just solder, you just braze it up like any other joint. But this here prevents your solder from falling in the hole. So I'm gonna set the camera down. I'm gonna wrap this around the pipe, and then I'll show you how it is brazed up. Maybe I could mount this camera somewhere. So let's see. Okay, so hopefully my camera doesn't fall, but let's see. So that's kind of what you do with the wire. You're gonna bridge it up. So now I'm gonna put a little flux on it. Alright, just flux it up a little bit. right here, it looks pretty good. That looks good to me. Okay, so for whatever reason, if you're out in the field and you run into a big leak, a big hole, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, that's what you can, let's see, you can do to make a bridge, or else your silver solder is just going to keep falling in. So you can see, so now I'm going to cool that off, put a valve core in, evacuate it, and put some nitrogen in it and let it sit for a couple days. I'll leave a gauge stubbed onto it to see if there's a pressure drop. It's just a little project I was working on. I'm gonna put this unit, I have a place for this unit, so instead of buying one, I'm gonna rebuild this one. So alright, I'll come back with the nitrogen to show you what I leave it at, and then we'll go from there. Alright. Okay, so I was gonna pull a vacuum and then pressurize with nitrogen, but I didn't. So there's still refrigerant vapors in there when I added the, I mean, it wasn't much, but there is vapors in all these U-bends down in the bottom, even though that hole was pretty big. So what I'm worried about is when you pressurize with nitrogen, you don't have to really worry about your ambient temperature too much. But when you pressurize with refrigerant in the system and nitrogen, then you do, because as the ambient temperature changes, your pressure test will fluctuate a little bit. So right now we're at 325, 30, 35, like right shy of 340, like 87.3, so about 87 degrees ambient. So I wrote 340 psi. I'm gonna write 87 degrees here. I'm gonna hose this out, clean it up, and let it sit until the part comes in. Once the part comes in, I'll show you that I solder on the relay, and I'll show you how it works when I start it up. I don't know if I'm gonna post this now and then I'll post part 2, or I'll just maybe I'll just save it and wait till I get the relay and then I'll make part 2. I'll probably do that. So you'll see when I post the video what I end up doing. Alright.